On this episode of Scammer Stories, you heard in the first part of this two-part series about Jeff. Jeff needs a cape for being a wonderful son. If this is the first time listening to the podcast, my name is April. My mom lost $350,000 before her death in 2020. And she had ovarian cancer too, but that's not what killed her. She was killed by romance scammers, I think. One morning, my aunt went to get her to bring her to my brother's house in Dallas, and she was dead with a broken neck on the floor. The scammers had kept her up at all hours of the night, so she either rolled out of bed or didn't make it to the bathroom due to exhaustion. I'll never know for sure. On to this week. If you didn't hear the first part of Jeff's story, go back and listen now. We begin this episode with where we left off. Jeff had done a ton to stop his mother's scam, and things were looking up. For a little while, anyway. We ended the first episode with Jeff taking over her bank account. Did it work? Here's what happened next.
When she couldn't wire the money, she mailed a hard check. So I print them all out. I write them all down.
She was sending checks to businesses in Georgia, which means a paper trail. And that means Jeff has a place to start on the State of Georgia website.
I start calling. I start Googling each business. And out of the 25, there were probably maybe 5 that were still active. And on the state of Georgia, when they show like a corporation, if it's active or not. So there were about 5 active, but he had 25 addresses, which I believe were just fronts to create business to get money, deposit money, close accounts. Okay. During this time, so this is February, I find all this information. And of course, I show her. Not only that, obviously, we all learned to do a reverse search of the guy. He's a German actor. They used his picture in multiple scams. He's now deceased, but they keep using it. And of course, I bring the information. My mom won't believe it. Like, oh, okay. No, I'll ask him about it. Like, there's always an explanation, and they just keep believing it. So from January to June of 2019, that's right after all this started, and I made the deal with her, she keeps sending money and gift cards. In this process, he says he's a widower from Texas. He has a son that lives in the States and goes to school. Of course, he's an engineer on a ship, and that's why he can't get his money, and he just needs his retirement money. But in order to get his retirement money, he needs my mom to pretend to be the wife so that she can get the money. And I'm going, Mom, this makes no sense. You're telling me that a single man can't get his retirement?
Yeah.
You don't need to be married, and you're not even married. You're the girlfriend. How does this make sense? So it's just this nonsense.
Here's another move Jeff made that I wish I'd done.
So during this, because I started taking over her bills and I got her phone, and so since I'm paying her bills, somehow I went in. I go, hey, I'm paying my mom's bills. I want to convert this. I want to, be able to pay it, put it in my name. And I don't know the details to, like, if they said yes, or my mom had to sign something like, I just need to pay your bill, Mom. And she might have signed something. So I got that account in my name, which meant then I could see all of her phone calls and all of her texts.
Whoa.
So
my brother and I just didn't know this was possible. Now you do, and you need to take control. Mom didn't want my brother and I to pay for her cell phone so she could have control. We didn't know at the time that we had so much leverage due to her dire financial situation.
So it's kind of like a kid account, like your kid, you can see everything. So it wasn't a kid account. It was my account, but it was her phone. So, I was obsessed. I was not sleeping. I was like, I'm going to get these guys. I've screenshotted thousands of text messages and emails from her and the scammer.
I just have to stop here for a second so I can point out, do you realize how mentally draining this would be on Jeff, on anyone? I can't actually imagine how enraged I would have been if I would have read the texts between her and the scumbag. You may or not have heard that episode I did with my mother before her death. I can't even listen to it anymore. Never have. Don't know if I ever will. It's too painful.
So at this time, I'll just see a phone number. I go, I don't know that number. I'll Google it. I go, oh my God, she's calling banks. Oh my God, this is a lending company. Oh my God. So it's not quitting. So since I made the deal with her in December and then my dad passes, it's like it's nonstop. I actually called the elder abuse in the state of Arizona. I go, what do I do? Can you guys help me? And so they came out and met with her. And the lady said, well, I do think your mom's being abused. She says, but basically, if she had no family to take care of her and she was on her own, we would fast track and become her conservator and take over her finances. But if the state does that, they have to pay people out of their money to take care of the conservatorship, right? So you get like a fiduciary or whatever you call it. And I go, well, there's no sense in doing that. Like we're going to pay them to take care of her stuff and then you can't do anything. I think it's more probably for independent people, have no family, and they just kind of take over. And maybe they pay some of it. I don't know. So in the meantime, I mentioned the son that's in the States. Well, he says his son doesn't have any food, and he can't pay his tuition bill. And then so my mom sends him $1,000 to pay his tuition bill. And then she probably sent him another $500 in Apple iTunes cards so that he could play video games because he was bored at school. Now, my mom's been very tight. She likes to buy nice things. I mean, literally, she's very frugal. When my dad was alive, she saved up for like a year and a half cash and bought one of the new Mercedes because she wanted one and she paid cash. So she's very frugal. She saves. She's not very loving. I mean, I don't blame that. It's just genetics. It's not like, I had a horrible childhood.
Yeah,
I mean,
just the way
she
she's
loved
built.
us. But when I'm seeing these text messages and these conversations with the son now and calling him, oh, sweetie, I'm like, who is this woman? This isn't my mom, right? Like it was bizarre. And, hope you're doing okay. And so I go, what are you talking about, a son? Mom, that's another scam. I go, do you have a picture? She goes, yeah. So I get the picture. I reverse Google it. It's an actor, like a child actor. I go, Mom, he scammed you. He's not even real. This is fake. And then she, of course, asks the scammer, and he goes, yeah, someone hacked that. I don't have nothing to do with that. Like, you got scammed. And I'm like, it's just bizarre. And I realize it's not going to stop.
In the meantime, Jeff is talking to all of his family members. On one hand, the nightmare brought me and my brother closer because we were united in our thoughts and beliefs on what was really going on. I also talked to my good aunt more now, my mother's middle sister. The youngest sister, however, I never want to speak to again. So here's what happened with Jeff's siblings.
And I tell my brothers, I go, the only thing we can do is go to court and get conservatorship because I'd done some research. But that's like the nuclear option. I do not want to go to court with my mom and take her money. I was hoping that it would be, let me take over your money. You made a mistake. I proved you were scammed. No. So I then talked to my brothers and I call an attorney. Now, this small town, it was hard to find an attorney that does scams, and conservatorships in a scam because it's kind of new. So I call an attorney and I go, hey, we're thinking about doing it. What's involved? How much is it going to cost to from beginning to end, I get conservatorship if it all goes good? And they said about $5,000. And they said, if you win your mom's estate, she has to pay for the attorney fees. But if you lose, you have to pay for it. So I go, okay, I don't got $5,000 paid for no attorney fee in case I lose. So I called my older brother and I said, look, I don't got $5,000. I'm ready to do this. If you'll pay the $5,000 if we lose, I don't have it. I go, we'll do it. And he goes, yeah, let's do it. If we lose, I'll pay the $5,000. He said, we're saving $500,000, spend $5,000. He goes, it's just a small percent. We're trying to see the rest of everything. So I get the attorney, give him the information. He fast tracks it and we get a temporary conservatorship without any court appearance or anything. He just submitted it with the documentation that I gave him. And the court saw enough to say, yes, there's a problem.
How long did that take?
Well, on July 10th, I got temporary conservatorship. So I want to say once I met with the attorney, gave them all the information, they got their paperwork together. Within 2 weeks, I had temporary. But the weird thing is on a temporary conservatorship, every bank's different because you go in and go, oh, they go, oh, you're only temporary. Because she would start opening bank accounts all over to hide them from me and then try to get loans. And then, of course, the scammers are saying, we're going to deposit money. Go open a bank account.
Remember, the scammers sent money to my mom's bank for her to buy them a laptop and send it to them, and she did it.
And then they muled her a little bit because they go, get a credit card. And then we're going to take money and then we're going to put money back. She goes, yeah, they put money back. I go, no, this is nonsense. And I go, you need to call right now and close it. So while I was there, she closed that one card. Also, which creeped me out back at the beginning, I forgot to say this because I'm remembering. When this is all going down and I'm finding out, and if she was gone, I'd go to her house and I'm taking pictures. I'm looking for everything I can find. Notes under the mattress. I see in December, she made a hotel reservation for the scammer. Like actually put it on her card, reserved it because he was coming. I'm going, oh my God. Then I see a credit card in her name. And then she has a credit card that says Roland Dixon in his name. So that's how creepy it was. Then at one time, we're going back and forth at the beginning and she's going, I scammed, I'm not scammed, I'm scammed, I'm not scammed. She says, I think I did something bad. And I go, what? She goes, I gave them my account number and password to my banking. I go, oh my God. So I got her, since she was in the mood, I got her to go, you got to take advantage when they're on your side.
Here's what he means. Scam victims deep down know they're being scammed at some point. It's likely they're wrestling with good and evil. Who's the most important person in their life? The children or the scumbag? There are very few windows that the victim has with clarity. I wish I could pinpoint what makes the rational side of their brain take over. I can't. All I know is it's short-lived. You have to act quick.
We go straight down. We cancel all of our accounts, change it, cancel our debits. I'm going, oh my God. At that time, I had all the savings and stuff kind of protected. But, if they took $1,500, that's $1,500 out of savings to pay for her bills. So then there's just so many weird stuff that you got, like, you don't know. You can't stop it all. It's crazy. So then I had temporary conservatorship. Well, I see at this point, I'm seeing somehow, I don't remember how I talked her into it or like she didn't know. I think I had her Google password because I go, we need to change this and I'll set it up. And then she still had access to her password and changing it. But at the time, I could read all of her chats, the WeChat stuff, everything. So that's how I'd get a lot of my information. Also seeing her phone calls, see who she's calling. And then I would call them. Hey, did my mom call? Hey, I've got temporary conservatorship. Afraid she's being scammed. She's looking for a loan. So I stopped one loan because they were about to fund it. Then she went to one of the storefronts. Now, the only reason she's doing this, because I kind of locked her money down. So now she's hiding and going after crazy money. So then she went to like one of those personal loan places, that 25%. And I saw she called, had an appointment. So when they opened, I drove down there, took my temporary conservatorship. I go, my mom's been scammed. You cannot give her a loan. And they go, oh, okay, thank you so much. And then when she came in, they denied her the loan. So that was 2 loans I stopped. So that was July 10th, I got temporary conservatorship. Okay, when I had temporary conservatorship, and I don't remember where this money came from because she had access to her money still. So I do not know where this money came from. But she got $10,000 and deposited into a Chase bank account that she created on her own. So I'm literally like chasing banks and closing down accounts because I'm afraid she's
a full-time job that you're doing. This is all consuming of your life.
It was. Well, at the time, my work schedule was I had 7 days off a month. So on those days, I could get a lot done. But of course, time is of the essence. So when I'm at work, I'm screwed. So somehow I can't remember where she got the $10,000. She put it in Chase bank account. I go down to Chase bank account because my mom I was afraid she was going to wire the money because she was talking to the scammers about wiring $10,000. It was in the Chase bank account. I saw it was on my mom's phone. So I went down there and I gave him my temporary conservatorship and I go, I need to freeze this account. And I'm talking with the lady at the desk and then she calls corporate fraud prevention. They talk to me. They go, well, it's got to go through our legal department. That could take 2 or 3 days. I go, the money will be gone in 2 or 3. I got to stop it now. I go, can you freeze the account? So the lady said, we'll freeze the account until we get it resolved. I go, so my mom cannot get this money, right? They go, yes. A day later, my mom took the money out and they didn't stop it. And then now, of course, I'm livid, not exactly a nice person. I go down, I need to speak to the manager. You got to be kidding me. You cost us $10,000 and you said you were going to put a hold on it. I talked to your fraud department right here in your office and they said they would freeze it. And I go, I've gone to other banks with this temporary conservatorship and they stopped it right then. Why do you guys need 2 or 3 days? Right? So that was $10,000 gone. So that was in the July 10th frame. And I got temporary conservatorship on July 10th. So that was in that time period.
Like so many scam victims, they think it may be close to over when it's not. The wild ride continues.
And then in July, she gets a title loan on her car for $10,000. And I'm following this, right? I'm going, she got 10,000. I go, oh my God, she borrowed against her car on the high interest rates. I go, oh, you got to be kidding me, because I'm being able to monitor this. So I see that she sends him pictures of a FedEx receipt. I sent the money, $10,000, it's on the way. When are you going to be here? All that nonsense, right? She thinks he's coming in a few days. I just need the $10,000. I drive straight to FedEx. I have a picture of the receipt with a barcode, right? I go, look, my mom's been scammed. My temporary conservatorship was kind of like my subpoena to everywhere, but it didn't work all the time. I go, my mom's been scammed. Here's my temporary conservatorship. She just sent money this morning. I'm trying to stop it. Did it go out yet? He goes, no. He goes, I think I have it here. He goes, your mom came in. She's telling me the story. And I talked to my manager. I go, I think she's being scammed, right? So he pulls up the FedEx envelope, gives it to me, and then he gives me a refund for the shipping fees. I go, no, I don't need the $15. I don't care. I go, I just need this, right? And he goes, no, we didn't send it. And I go, wow, well, that was really nice of you. So I get this home and I'm videoing this because I'm trying to document it. It's like, now it's so crazy. It's like a movie. I'm screenshotting, I'm videoing. I open this envelope and there's $4,000 in cash in it and $6,000 in money orders.
Whoa.
And I'm like, this is insane. So I then take that money and then I'm calling the loan people in the car, which she's 1 month in. So it probably cost us, $800 in interest. And I pay off that title loan. And because I found out about the title loan, I then go to the DMV with my little subpoena temporary conservatorship. And I say, I want my mom's car put in a trust and I want my daughter to be the lien holder so that it's like a backup to get a loan against it, right? And so I put my daughter as the lien holder, even though there's no lien, but she has to sign off on it, So that was just one thing. And I'm going, that's just crazy. Right after my dad passed, I see that my mom's going to the airport to get her money. They're bringing her money here, like in cash. I see this. I'm at work. So I text my brother who's living there. I go, she's going to the airport. I go, you got to stop her. I don't know what you got to do. She cannot leave the house. That's dangerous. I don't know who these people are, right? So he went and took her keys and hid them. And she's looking all over and then finally goes, you're not going anywhere. I'm asking her, what's going on, Mom? I got there the next day. What do you mean you're going to the airport? That's dangerous. Like, how could you? And then she says, oh, yeah, they said that the money got held up in customs. They needed money to get the money out of customs. I go, that's what it was about. Well, she was upset. She actually called the sheriff department to report that. My mom would come into this coherent state of, yeah, I've been scammed and I can't believe I'm so gullible, And then all of a sudden, I'm the bad guy. And she's all in and trying to get the money and he's coming.
Jeff was experiencing this weird back and forth with his mom. Every son and daughter has seen it. 1 minute, they're unrecognizable with their emotions, and then a sudden moment of clarity that we all hang on to.
It was this weird roller coaster of my side, their side, my side, their side, and it would go up and down. And nothing you can say will change anything they think. They're just whatever state they're at. So a conservatorship cost us about $5,000 in attorney fees. I'm now responsible to the court to show all my mom's accounting. I have to show all of her statements for the year. I have to show her budget. I have to show if anything sold, anything comes in. I'm responsible for that every year. It became a job, and I've never been to court other than traffic ticket. Now when the court says, we don't approve this until we need this, this, and then I go, what are they going to do? Arrest me? I go, I don't need this. Like, it's stress. And so after the first year, we get the first one in with the lawyer, and then I get rid of the lawyer to save money. And I had to really dig through connections and Googling and calling. And I found a paralegal that has done this a court county before. And that probably costs us about $1,300 a year. So a little over $100 a month to me to give them their paperwork. She does it all, does the court papers. She calls me, I need a copy of this check. I send it to her. Court responds. I give it to her. She understands the lingo. And I'm like, I'm not paying for this to crouch into my life. I already lost a year of nonsense. So this past year went pretty good. And then this year seems like it's going a lot smoother. During that time when we did the temporary conservatorship, there's a couple of things that, like, the court appoints a court investigator. So, if you can imagine, like, if my mom was worth like $20 million and I'm coming in and want to take over the money, right? They're going to go, what do you mean you want to take over the money? Yeah, my brothers know she's out of her mind, right? Because money creates greed. People do bad things. I'm sure it happens all the time. So the court appoints a private investigator, and he interviewed me, my two brothers, and my mom. And in the end, he thought my mom was being scammed and basically said that he agreed that I should be the conservator. Then on top of that, we have to get a statement from the doctor. And the doctor has to sign off. So during this time, before I was even doing this, I believe when I went to Social Security, and I may be wrong because this has been 4 years and I haven't thought about it for 2. When I went to Social Security to get my mom's thing directly deposit and my dad's, I go, I just want to go on my account. I think they said you need to have a doctor sign off saying they're incompetent, and then we'll do it. Well, I go to my dad's doctor and he goes, well, no, your dad's fine. And I'm thinking, well, I'm calling my mom's doctor and trying to meet with him. They blow me off. They won't meet, whatever. So when my dad passed away at this point, so it didn't matter. His money wasn't coming in anymore. But on my mom's side, the doctor called me and goes, oh, I got this thing formed for your mom. He goes, can you come in and meet with me? I'm going, yes, this is what I've been trying to do for 6 months. Go in, tell him the story. He signs off, says she's not competent to take care of her money. So, and here's another weird thing. So I hired an attorney to represent me in the conservatorship. Well, my mom has to have an attorney to represent her. She has to have legal representation. So now the estate, the trust, is paying for both attorneys to represent them. Well, my mom didn't know enough to contest. If she had contested every stage of the way and they were trying to prove, then she would have ran up legal bills. I would have been running up legal bills, and it's all out of her money, So it's just this crazy legal system, the way it kind of works. So she didn't really contest. My brother from California, my older brother, came over and said he would go to court with me to support me because I was stressed out. So my mom's sitting on one side, I'm sitting, it's the worst feeling in the world to be in court against your mother or your parents. I mean, it was horrible.
I can't imagine everything that Jeff's been through. Now what in the romance scam hell? He's amazing. Everything a mother could ask for in a son, and he's feeling like shit. So
my brother came just to support me in what I was doing and show the court that we're in agreement. My mom's screwed up, So that was, I said September, right? So that's September 2019, get the full conservatorship. Now, she had credit cards, and I purposely did not pay them. I was wanting to screw her credit so bad she could get money nowhere. That was my plan, right? And then the other sad thing is I called the credit card company and I go, I would like to pay this card off and close the account. They go, well, you're not the owner of the account. You can't close it. I go, you don't understand. I'm paying all my mom's bills. She can't pay this. She can't make these payments. I'm the one doing it, right? Can I pay it off and close the account? They go, we can't do that. And then I'm thinking, now I'm mad. I go, then screw you. Don't get any money. You're not getting it from me, is what I'm thinking. And so I'm trying to screw her credit. I also went on with her information and froze her accounts, like probably, like I knew her social security or date of birth, all that, froze her accounts, put a credit freeze. Then she would go apply for loans. See, they'd say your credit's frozen. She would then go online and unfreeze it. And then I'd go back and freeze it. So it was a cat and mouse game. But her credit score was horrible. I had like 3 or 4 cards I just didn't pay for like a long time. And so I see that she's calling this bank in town and trying to get a loan because I'm seeing the calls. I see what bank it is. I go, well, she's trying to get a loan. They're not going to give her a loan. Her credit's screwed. It's a credit score of 500. They're not going to give her money. So then I see she wired money and I go, oh my God. So I go straight down to the bank. I have my conservatorship papers now. And I go, you gave my mom a loan yesterday. You just wired money. Can you stop it? Okay, well, we'll try. But that was, it might be already gone. So it's $4,300 she wired and they got it, right? I never saw it again. And I go, why in the world would you give a loan to a person that has a 500 credit score? Again, I'm at the bank. I'm upset. I'm mad. I just cannot believe this. Like they screwed up. They wouldn't give me a loan for $4,300 cash, right? With a 500 credit score. So that money was gone. And the interesting thing was, I go, well, you know what? You need to get that money back. You guys screwed up. So I showed them my conservatorship papers. They make copies. And then I get a letter in the mail. Now I'm liable as a conservator to pay that through an attorney letter that they sent me. So I call them up. I go, you know what? I'll pay this, but I'm not paying the interest because you guys screwed up and screwed this. And so paid it off, done. So this was obviously then COVID hits, right? 2019. I'm so proactive. I'm so spending so many hours on this. I'm like going after it. I'm stopping it. I'm like on a mission and I'm like got ADD about it. I'm like getting names, getting numbers. I'm documenting and get the conservatorship. And then after you get the conservatorship, you feel helpless because you still can't stop it. Mm-hmm. Like if someone goes and gives them a loan, they're not on a list. You can get a do not fly list, but you can't get a do not give money list. So in my opinion, I've heard some of your guests talk about going after the social media companies. And that's, in my opinion, that's a ridiculous idea because there's going to be a new social media, right? Mm-hmm. TikTok's in China. What are you going to do to stop scammers from there? In other words, you can't stop it. But what you should be able to stop without going to court, without whatever criteria they do, you should be able to get on a do not loan money list until this is resolved, and like a freeze list, or something. So it's the banking system. I mean, we're not protecting the incoming scams. They could be someone knocking on the door. You can't stop it. So that's really not my issue. My issue is when you find out, you have no power to stop it. Even with a conservatorship, I've got all of her money coming in, but I can't stop it going out if she's getting loans. And so that's what's frustrating.
So now you see why Jeff needs a cape. After all that he's done, you may wonder what his mother is doing now. Well, he convinced her to move into a senior living community. Great, right? Wrong. She still uses the computer in the lobby. It's an addiction. If you need help or have a story to share, you know where to find me. scammerstoriespodcast@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on the Scammer Stories Facebook page. Also, if you'd like to leave a one-time donation to help the podcast continue, I'd appreciate it. I'll put a link in the show notes. Every bit helps. Until next time, Scammer Warriors.